His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa ratified and issued Law 20 of 2025, introducing amendments to Law 18 of 2017 concerning alternative sanction and measures following the approval of the Shura and Representative Councils. His Majesty the King also ratified and issued Law 21 of 2025, amending certain provisions of the restorative justice law for children and their protection from maltreatment, promulgated by Law 4 of 2021, following the approval of the Shura and Representative Councils. The Deputy Prime Minister, Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at Qadibiyya Palace. The cabinet praised His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's message on World Press Freedom Day, which underscored the vital role of the national press in supporting the kingdom's sustainable development. The cabinet also welcomed His Majesty's recognition of the government's effort, led by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in promoting modern technologies across various sectors, and acknowledged the Ministry of Information's role in advancing Bahrain's media infrastructure. In celebration of Bahraini Press Day, the cabinet expressed pride in the national press for its contributions to the kingdom's comprehensive development, led by His Majesty the King and supported by His Royal Highness. It praised the successful hosting of Bab al-Bahrain Forum 2025, which was inaugurated on behalf of His Royal Highness by the Deputy Prime Minister. The cabinet recognized the wide regional and international participation in the forum and commended the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry for its organizational efforts. It reviewed the measures taken following the leak that occurred in a safety valve in one of Babco refining units. As an independent investigation consultant was appointed to formally lead the investigation following the directive of the Board of Directors of Babco Energy and Babco Refining. The cabinet extends its sincere condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in the incident. It further mandated the Minister of Oil and Environment and Special Envoy for Climate Affairs to follow up on the independent investigation and its outcomes and inform its result to the cabinet to implement the necessary action. The cabinet expressed its best wishes for success to students at all educational levels as they began their final exams. It directed that all necessary support to be provided to ensure smooth examination procedures and to help students achieve their best results. The cabinet then approved the following memorandums. 1. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Development and Infrastructure Projects regarding the additional regulations, requirements and standards for parking space across various land classifications. 2. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding Bahrain's 2024 quarterly economic report. The report showed a 2.6% annual GDP growth at constant prices, driven by 3.8% increase in non-oil activities. The fourth quarter showed a 3.4% GDP growth at constant prices and a 4.6% rise in non-oil activities. 3. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding the International Monetary Fund's 16th General Review of Quotas. 4. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the draft resolution regulating joint human resources services. 5. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the government's response to 3 proposals submitted by the Council of Representatives. The Cabinet then noted the following ministerial reports. 1. The outcomes of the 2025 spring meetings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund. 2. The outcome of the visit, conducted by a Bahrain delegation led by the Minister of Finance and National Economy to Italy, to strengthen bilateral economics and trade relations. 3. The outcome of the 2 ceremonies held to mark Labor Day. 4. The outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the 2025 Arabian travel market. The Minister of Transportation and Telecommunication, Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, met with a number of ministers and senior officials in Kuwait. The minister praised Bahrain's historical relations and close and growing economic and strategic partnership with Kuwait under the patronage of His Majesty the King and His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. The minister emphasized Bahrain's keenness under the royal vision of His Majesty the King and the directive of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to consolidate cooperation and integration with Kuwait. The two sides discussed cooperation in the fields of transportation, logistics, infrastructure development, and regional connectivity, in addition to reviewing prospects for cooperation in the telecommunications sector, digital transformation, and exchange of expertise in artificial intelligence technologies. The meetings also addressed ways to develop cooperation in the fields of air, transportation, aviation security and safety, logistics services, and activating bilateral and GCC agreements. The Minister of Social Development, Osam Al-Alawi, paid a field visit to the capital complex for Bahraini Handcraft, which houses a range of home-based businesses run by productive Bahraini families. The minister announced the extension of the working period to include the evening period in order to allow a wider segment of the public to boost their sales and opportunities to reach larger segments of consumers. He stressed that the ministry pays great attention to the productive families sector, achieving sustainability for them and providing the supportive structure to expand their participation in the market through complexes, exhibitions, and marketing events. The Criminal Information Directorate of the General Directorate of Criminal Investigation and Forensic Science announced the issuance of more than 100,000 Good Conduct Certificate electronically since the launch of the service in 2020 in cooperation with the Information and E-Government Authority. The director of the Criminal Information, Colonel Naif Al-Majid, explained that this achievement comes as part of the Directorate's plan to provide effective, high quality and easy services to customers locally and globally. He added that this electronic transformation is an embodiment of the directive of the Interior Minister and Chairman of the Ministerial Committee for Information and Communication Technology, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, who always emphasized the importance of employing technology in developing security and service performance. He pointed out that this achievement comes within the framework of translating the future plans prepared by the ministry according to a specific timetable based on the use of modern technologies in providing services that ensure the improvement of the quality of life of citizens and residents. Tamkeen announces implementing 2,900 inspection visit to monitor the efforts of institutions benefiting from its employment support and career development. More in this report.
Within the framework of the public interest and awareness of the shared responsibility in preserving and safeguarding public money, the Tamkeen Labour Fund continues its monitoring efforts through inspection visits to institutions benefiting from its various programs, namely employment support, career development, as well as institutional support, to verify that the support is properly directed to its beneficiaries. And the number of visits carried out during the first quarter of this year reached about 3,000 inspection visits. The Tamkeen Labour Fund is keen to update its internal systems and take the necessary measures on the violations that are monitored, as it works according to a mechanism with the Labour Ministry on cases of illegal dismissal and communicates with the beneficiaries of wage and employment support programs during and after the period of the benefit from the support, as part of the plan for monitoring procedures on support programs, and more than 20,000 beneficiaries have been contacted in this regard, and the number of violations for individual programs reached 18 violations. The violations that are monitored are dealt with according to their nature as administrative violations, such as violations of support requirements, and the regulations and policies in force at Tamkeen are dealt with in accordance with the regulation of administrative violations.
The Labour Market Regulatory Authority, LMRA, announced the implementation of 784 inspection campaigns and visits during the period of April 27th to May 3rd, which resulted in the detention of 18 violating and irregular workers, while 116 violators were deported. The inspection campaigns and visits also resulted in monitoring several violations related to the provisions of several regulating law, especially the LMRA and residency law in Bahrain, noting that legal measures were taken regarding the observed violation. The authority affirmed the continuation of joint coordination with government agency to intensify inspection campaigns in all governance and to address any violation or practices that negatively affects the stability of competitiveness of the labour market or harm the economic and social security of the kingdom. The LMRA renewed its call on all members of society to support the efforts of government agency in addressing illegal labour practices by reporting violation via the electronic form on the authority's website. The Ministry of Finance and National Economy published the Bahrain Economic Report for the year 2024. According to the preliminary data released by the Information and E-Government Authority, Bahrain's economy grew by 2.6% year-on-year in real terms in 2024, while the GDP rose by 2.0%, with non-oil activities growing by 3.3% and oil activities decreasing by 5.8%. The report highlighted the key role of non-oil activities in driving economic growth and the continued expansion of diversification of the economy accounted for the increase in the non-oil sector's contribution to GDP 86%. The information and communication sector emerged as the fastest growing sector, followed by the professional, scientific and technical activities sector. The accommodation and food services sector grew by 5.9%, while transportation and storage saw a growth of 4.9%. The manufacturing sector increased by 4.5%, while the financial and insurance activities sector achieved a growth rate of 4.4%. The wholesale and retail trade sector recorded a growth of 2.8%, and foreign direct investment stock grew by 5.7%, reaching a total of 17.3 billion Bahraini dinars.